Hello. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the temple. I'm your High Priestess, Erin Suniva McHugh. And as we enter this temple, I welcome the presence of our highest selves. I welcome the presence of the highest consciousness into this space, highest love, highest compassion. I ask for the divine to hold us in the light today. I welcome the benevolent presence, the teachers and weavers of the divine plan to grace this space, to support the expansion and the sharing of spiritual education and wisdom through experience. This is the place where we witness the work that we talk about. We can be present for the unfolding of hearts returning to their true medicine. And you may be called to this space today because you are seeking a connection to your divinity, or you are seeking a space where you can truly dive into your inherent perfection, remember how to heal, and to walk the path of love, participating in the restoration of the divine plan on earth. Welcome, 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 my friends. So, hello. We are already within this realm of the new moon in Sagittarius, and it's quite powerful, quite strong. And I am called today to talk about Sophia and to talk about what it means to carry this lineage and the challenges that we face carrying these lineages. So as a woman who walks the path of Mary Magdalene, I consider myself a priestess, right? You know that about me. I have been connected to this energy, this lineage, obviously my whole life, but really discovering it in 2008. And through my beautiful friend, hi Lori, welcome, hi everybody. Through my beautiful friend Shannon Smith, she was able to, show me what Mary is all about. And in my journey, in my lessons, I have learned very powerful teachings that are, historical, that have to do with, like how this lineage has moved, and there are medicines that we are given and offered in the mysteries, right? Like there are things that we teach in the mysteries that can only be shared through the lineage, like oral teaching, that you won't find written anywhere. So when you work with someone who is of the lineage of the rose, they have medicine, they have information that they are carrying in their womb, in their body, that they have been given or reminded in this life. And these are very sacred teachings that have been carried through the line. Things that are happening now on the planet, I'll say this, things are coming to a head. Things are coming to a head. And a very big piece of this spiritual warfare that is happening on the planet is actually part of it. I'll just say that part of it is this war between the false masculine, greetings Chantal, the false masculine trying to preserve its patriarchal hold on the planet, while the feminine in her true form and balance is rising and awakening, and has been, right, for the last few decades. But we're at a culmination of this, of time where there are so many, and I will refer to us as Sophias. Okay, so it's really like the simplest thing to do. Who are the Sophias? The Sophia. Well, let's back up even more. How can you be a Sophia? Who is Sophia? Well, we have received Sophia to be the soul of the earth, right? Mother Gaia Sophia. She is, coming from the Gnostic traditions. We see her as the goddess of wisdom. We are, we welcome this presence of the Divine Mother, but she is so much more than that, right? She is not just the presence of wisdom, but she is matter. She is mater, right? Divine Mother. She is source. So in this way that there is this overarching energy of, we're born from a womb, right? So what is creation born from? Also, that similar void, that origin source of the egg, right? That we all come from. And so Sophia is that which forms the egg that births life. Okay. So that pureness, pure knowing, pure source, pure origin is the Divine Mother, is Sophia. And this wisdom of pure connection and there's so many words: observation, worship, adoration, veneration, right? All of the mother and of the womb, of the yoni itself, right? This is how you worship life. This is how you give praise to all that is. And Sophia is not separate from Christ. It is Christos Sophia. Soph being the mother, being the divine feminine. And Soph has shown up in many different ways in different cultures. You see it at the top of the Kabbalah tree of life, Ein Sof Or, to know thyself, right? So there's this resurgence in many different ways that the mother shows up, and that the mother has also been suppressed. And so this is where we come to these lineages of the worship of the goddess, the matriarchal pantheon, right? That our reality was until 6,000 years ago. So we could just say that we survived and thrived under goddess worship up until 6,000 years ago, when linear writing and the Jehovian matrix overlay was placed on the planet. And this overlay was placed here in order to limit growth and to subdue the feminine nature. And so the matriarch and the mother, the goddess, was removed from her position so that the all-one God could replace her, and humanity would continue down a road of fear-based religious control instead of love-based community thriving. Okay? So fast forward to present day. We are in a reality where there are all of these people, whether you're masculine or feminine form or somewhere in between, who carry these lineages of light that are original to the planet and original to the mother. Okay? And this matrix is falling apart. You've probably noticed. You've heard like the glitch in the matrix, right? Things like this. Well, people are waking up to the presence of the matrix and this overarching control that's been here. And a lot of people don't, recognize it as Jehovian, or that this, that the matrix is related to Yahweh, but it is. And that's okay. They don't have to know that. But We need to know that in order for us to protect ourselves, those of us who are Sophias, to protect ourselves and to protect the lineages of true light that are coming forward at this time. I'm present to energies that have just entered the field that don't want me to say what I'm about to say, because it is going to bring liberation to you. It's going to bring liberation to the souls that hear it. And so I welcome even more support from the goddess right now to help me to share these truths. Sophia, Isis, the Marys, the Magdalene, Shekinah, welcome. You cannot hold my tongue. One of the aspects of keeping the women out of their power and out of their awakening is through the use of handlers. You've probably heard of handlers before, in the sense of maybe political people or, celebrities or things like this. Like, you have a handler to keep you, hi Pensy, to keep you from your greatness, to keep you from your purpose, because Yahweh knows that our presence on the planet means the death of him, that he is not in power anymore. He's actually already not in power anymore. But the power is shifting. So in the secular world, the worship is turning to the computer, to the AI. The AI is the new form of God. It is it is Yahweh changing its form so that it can continue to be the controlling mechanism on the planet. Take it or leave it. AI is simply that the supercomputers have technology so fast that they have accessed the matrix, that they have accessed this demonic lower g God, lowercase g God, that is here to control society. Doesn't matter what religion you're a part of, religion is a mechanism of control and comes from this thread. If you are in your awakening and you feel like there is a shield over you, like there is a cage around you, like you can only access so much, like you can only go so far, then there probably is. And for the last 7 years, I think, 7 years? No, 8 years, whatever, doesn't matter. I have been actively participating, facilitating the removal of these Jehovian traps that are overlaid on Sophias. The reason for these traps is to keep you from pursuing and fulfilling your purpose as a divine feminine being, as a holder of the lineage of the rose. You may find that the person that you married was holding you back. You may find that you were, forced into a career instead of following your heart with painting or art or music. Your parents were your handlers. Your husband was your handler, your boyfriend, your colleague. I believe that there are very concerted efforts to hold back and to control Sophia's. And that there are a lot of people, influencers, who are also handlers. Right? So like the whole like influencer, like not just to mention that the whole social media, stratosphere is about distracting you from purpose. And amazingly enough, spiritual people have been able to really, use it for good and access it and use it for good. It is something that we have to fight against ourselves on a personal basis, right? This trying to steal our attention and keep us from our purpose. So I support people having a social media time limit for themselves, of, maybe you go to Facebook and you put on a timer of 5 minutes. And when that 5 minutes is up, you go and you go do something else that is physical, that is not your eyes on a screen. Because there are all of these different mechanisms that are placed in our reality to keep you from your purpose. And the majority of the purposes is just simply supporting other people in waking up, of sharing, spreading truth. So, do you feel like you've had someone in your life that could have been holding you back, deterring you from what you are truly called to do? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Tell me in the comments, because there's a lot more of this than people realize. And we actually sometimes just need to stand back and, review our lives and review the characters in our lives, and even, go back and say, was that person a handler? Was that person keeping me from my truth, right? Keeping me from my own personal value and my, awakening process? Yes, Tracy, yes. This is so common. And so what do we do about it, right? How do we look for the signs? How do we know? I have an itch. I gotta scratch me with my little comb. So how do we know? Well, yes, Marcy. Yep, exactly. And so here's the thing. This starts in childhood. It starts in childhood, okay? It can start with your parents definitely keeping you small, keeping you down, ridiculing you, denying your vision, denying your gifts, right? There could have been, Pensy, yeah. So it could have been that you had, that you were raped. It could have been that you were molested. It could have been that there was an event, that I'm seeing all kinds of different situations that are literally these nefarious energies coming in that are saying, no, this one we're going to knock her down a few notches. No, this one we're going to make sure that she never actually escapes from her own, self-harm and ridicule due to what we will do to her, right? This is real. And it's so important. Hi, Helen. It's so important for us to take off these blinders for ourselves and just say, higher self, if I have a handler in my life, let it be known to me. Let it be known to me. And let me not be afraid to face these people who may even subconsciously be my handler. So here's an aspect of that. A lot of times these people don't know that they're handlers. Now, sometimes they do, right? When it comes to high profile people, obviously the handlers know who they are, right, in themselves. However, when it comes to our personal relationships, our parents, our spouses, oftentimes they're as blind as you are. That they've been placed in your life for a reason. There's an orchestration of the addition of trauma and pain that this partner carries is going to be so heavy and so heavy laden on your life that you will not be able to get out of it because you will be forced to take on their karma. Situations like that, right? Or in childhood, your father was so abusive or so angry that you ended up just, as an empath, taking all of it on, all of it in, and that just deteriorating you from the inside. And if you don't have a strong enough allies in physical and non-physical, if you don't have someone that divine intervention that comes in and just, wakes you up, then you might end up being stuck there for a really long time. One of the things that has developed in my learning of this whole scenario is learning how to remove these traps and cages and shields that have been placed on Sophia's. And they come in all kinds of forms. What I have seen is that you can get as many clearings as you want from all kinds of healers. But if you are not going to a Sophionic healer who does not know how to recognize these frequencies, then they're not going to see it. They're not even, I'll tell you, Archangel Michael doesn't have anything to do with removing these shields and these fields of energy that come from Yahweh, because he has an agreement. It's almost like it's not his job. That's what he says. It's like, it's not. You have to be carrying the Sophionic lineage yourself in order to free other Sophias. Plain and simple. There's no other way to say it. So this is why I have had clients who have come to me after receiving SRT from professionals who are saying, gosh, I've had all these clearings and I'm still having the same problem. And then they come to me and I recognize the frequency and I work with the goddess herself in order to remove it, because that's what's necessary. Okay. It's a very particular training of working with the power of the Divine Mother, the power of the goddess that some of these people don't have access to. If you're a starseed, or if you are a galactic being not on the planet doing clearings for people, you do not have access to this medicine. Your guides are not on the earth. Your guides do not have access to the ability to clear these Yahweh control mechanisms. Do you understand? Are you hearing me? So if you keep going back to these people who don't know how to recognize these fields of frequency, nor know what to do with them, and tell you that you cannot be healed and you cannot have your gifts back, and this, and this is just going to be how it is for the rest of your life, it's because they don't know. They simply don't know. I hope you were reading between the lines there. So with all of this, how can you help yourself? Knowing this information, considering that perhaps I have a shield over me. Perhaps there's a cap on my energy and my trajectory. Maybe there's someone in my life that constantly, with their crises and their trauma and their karma, are pulling me off of my focus, off of my trajectory, off of my path, because I have to focus on them, right? How many of you, married someone? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's only women that are here. But, you married a man, and his job, his career, his purpose was the focus of the energy of your marriage, at least in the beginning, right? How long does that go on for? Until you lose your mind because you're not on mission, right? So you'll have to start with a life review. Review for yourself, backtrack. Where are the destiny points in my life that I have noticed big things, big changes, car accidents, right? Marriages, divorces, all of these things, childbirths. I know, Donna, I know. Childbirths, right? Abortions, miscarriages. What was happening in your life when these events occurred? Oftentimes, things like this, especially, I feel like car accidents are like really prominent timeline jumps, right? So either the actual car accident or almost getting into a car accident, right? These are places where because we're in motion, that we are actually in a quantum trajectory, that when something stops us like that, then we are literally shifted into a different reality, okay? Different timeline. And I have experienced that multiple times, including the almost accident experiences. So looking for these moments in your life, and maybe it's right now, maybe you're in it right now, and you feel like, gosh, I feel like I've done all this work. I've seen all of these healers and nothing is changing. This one aspect that I feel like I'm still being held back. There's still this something over me, and everybody wants to just tell me that it's all in my head. I have had clients come to me after having sessions with other healers and having SRT and being told that their experience is all in their head. Is it still the fucking 1950s? Are we going to the doctor who doesn't believe the woman is in pain? Is that where we are? We need to believe our clients. We need to believe that what they're experiencing is real and that there is a way out. Yes. Michelle, yes. Shell bells. I see you, Michelle. Yes. And I would absolutely say that you're a Sophia. There's this, when you feel that that you have a responsibility to your matriarchal line, you have a responsibility to the women in your ancestry. I mean, you don't have to be a Sophia to desire or to know that you're here to help, heal the feminine line. But I already know that about you, Michelle. I would definitely say that you're a Sophia, especially as you are as a mother, right? And raising your beautiful daughter. I feel this energy with you, definitely, and you're doing it. It's wonderful, So we have to listen to those intuitions, I feel like this man is holding me back. Okay, listen to that. Right? I feel like my mom is holding me back. Whoa. Listen to that. Right? So who is the person in your life who ridicules you, who makes fun of you when you share, eye-opening information or something that was Like there's this thing. I actually had to tell my husband this the other day. Like it was just yesterday. We had this very intense day yesterday of actually constantly having to reshield the house, being under constant psychic attack yesterday. And I had asked him to smudge the house and I just made a gesture. I was like, and he goes, okay. And I said, now is not the time to pull out your cynicism. Like, this is serious. This is a serious situation, and we're under attack. And I need you to rise up into your priesthood right this moment, even if it's not something that you practice every day. I need you to step up, right? I know that my husband is not my handler. I think that he was, until I realized that he was, and I was able to remove that control mechanism that was built into him. Okay? And the way that I discovered that was that I saw black boxes in his field. Okay? So there are ways to even, like you may be married to your handler, and your handler might be the love of your life, and you don't want to leave them, right? So in that, they can also be relieved. At the same time that you need to be relieved of whatever is holding you back, that mechanism is also okay. Sorry. So there, that energy, that frequency of control that's coming through the person unknowingly, that can also be removed and shielded, blocked, So it happens through all of us, right? Even subconsciously. So any questions? So how do we take care of this? These structures have to be dismantled. And it's part of, obviously, it's part of my purpose to dismantle these structures and to call them out where I see them. And interestingly enough, I'm seeing some of these structures like coming back full force right now, right? I see this trajectory. I don't want to use that word anymore. I just see there's like part of the awakening that's happening is that there's actually a lot of people that are turning to Christ, right? And I was, if you listen to my podcast, then we talked about this with Brigitte Mars, and she talked about the Urantia book and the true story of Christ. But what's happening at this time, there are individuals who are returning to Christ consciousness and the true light of Christ. And there are individuals who are turning to the church and are turning to the book. And that is incredibly disturbing to me, because these are people that I thought were awake. And so we have to be really, really careful. There is a draw, and I have been feeling the draw too. Like, oh, maybe we should go to church on Christmas. Like, maybe that would be a cute thing. Why would we go to church on Christmas? My children have never been to church. Why would we go to church on Christmas? Because that is the one place where they're not telling the truth about who my main teacher is. Why would I go to church, right? So this draw is definitely amplified, and you might have even been feeling some kind of draw, whether it's to Christ or maybe like, oh, I remember having a really lovely community in the church and how beautiful that was. And that is a really beautiful potential for any religious community, spiritual community, is to have a wonderful community. Hopefully it is. But I will say that the control blueprint is in every church. It's in every church. If there is a cross, the Christian cross, at the center of the church, you have entered into a death cult. You have entered into a system of control that will make sure you do not fulfill your purpose as a Sophia, because your light is not allowed there. Some of it, but not all of it. That place cannot hold the true greatness of all that you are, because a building cannot hold Sophia. Sophia is all of creation, and she is not accessed in that place. She is accessed through the center of your heart. She is accessed through the soles of your feet into the earth. And the presence, her immeasurable power, is accessed through softening. Not through force, not through action, softening. Yeah. So it's important for us to just learn how to look for the codes, learn how to look for the symbolism of control, right? And the main thing is that any religion that says there is one God that is masculine and in charge of everything, and that's where you come from, that is one big fat lie. You come from a mother. Everything in our reality, in our creation, was created by the mother. And the deception, the theft, this is why in all of those Disney movies, who's absent, right? The mother, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, the Little Mermaid, right? The Princess and the Frog. They're either I feel like Moana was like the first healthy presence of parents, but no, the grandmother, the matriarch has to die, but she'll come back in spirit form, right? Because that's where she's allowed to be in power, not in her physical form, but in her spirit form, right? So we have all of these stories of this society built up around us where the mother does not exist. And now, more than ever, there are these psyops, these mind control psyops that are trying to literally take down the word mother. You cannot remove her. She cannot be destroyed. She will not be destroyed. So come back to yourself, come back to your womb, come back to your center. And if you do not have a female body, you have an etheric womb. You have a feminine energy within you. You need to come back to it, to the softness, and to the power of the void. In my mentorship, I will be teaching how to access the power to remove these Jehovian shields. These are not the same thing as Jehovian seals. I don't know how, I don't not seen those. I don't know what those are. And maybe I am just seeing them in a different way. Maybe it is the same thing. Maybe it's the same thing. But I will be teaching this process to my students for the first time this year or next year, in February. Because we need to know, you need to know how to free yourself, how to free each other. What I have discovered more and more, and what you probably know to be true as well, is that your location is your location for a reason, and your light is needed in that place. If you have been incredibly challenged in that place, it might be because your frequency is fighting against something in order to be anchored in that place. And so checking for this, Jehovian overlay in your being is necessary. Because if you were to remove that, then your light will not be hindered by the matrix, because that's what it is. So it's actually the presence of your energetic field disturbing the matrix. And so the matrix responds, Yahweh responds with this capping or with trauma, with abuse, in order to just keep you down, right? Shut off your gifts, turn off your memories, right? And so my purpose here is to help you be all that you are, right? And not just to even, free you from that, but after freeing you from that, helping you to restore and reclaim and remember, And when we learn to do this for ourselves, that's how we learn to do it for each other. That's how I learned. I did it for myself. I did it, I did it for my girlfriend who, is a survivor of MK Ultra. And she was the one who called on me because she knew that somewhere within me was the encoding of how to do it. And then I was able to help her. And then I was able to help myself. And I've been helping women remove these shields ever since for the last 8 years. So, Cricket, I am so curious about your case. I'm really excited as well, and it's 10:44, which is like 1:44 right now. Very cool. It's 1:44 in Nova Scotia. If you have felt, drawn to any of the Marys, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, and you can have a relationship with Mother Mary without feeling or tapping into the church's control. Mother Mary is her own being. Okay, she is her own self. There is there's the Holy Virgin Mother Mary, that is the Catholic overlay, right? That's not the true Mother Mary. So the true Mother Mary is that beautiful turquoise and pink, right? Like that blue mantle, right? She carries that ray. She is Isis reincarnated. Mother Mary is Isis reincarnated. So and so then Mary Magdalene is Sophia. I mean, it's all one. It's all one. But so the main thing is that it's so important. It's so important to listen to those essences. Oh, I'm drawn to the rose. Like, oh, the rose keeps showing up for me. I'm like, okay, there's a reason for that, or that you find yourself to be a blue ray, right? And so that means that you are of the lineage of the mother, the lineage of the rose. So I'm gonna sneeze. So there's freedom. There's freedom for all of us. There's freedom. And it's not just about, doing spirit releasement therapy. It's, and getting a clearing and maintaining sovereignty. It is really about actually being present to the medicine of your soul and your spirit and your purpose on this planet, which might simply be your embodiment. you being in the presence of your true medicine, the gifts that you have and how you offer them and how you share them and how you hold them with integrity in your field, you know, and how you honor other people and what they carry, and that, you know, like, this is our job. That's purpose. Being yourself is pursuing your purpose, you know? So trying to pursue someone else's path, right? I'm like, oh, I love what they're doing, I want to do that too. That might not be your purpose. Be careful with that. You know, like, follow your truth and pay attention to what that might be. Yes. So any questions about this? Actually, I'm having a massive headache and a lot of heat in my head. So let's do some clearing and praying. And I know I did not set up proper shielding this morning, so let's do this together. I'll let you guys be present for this shielding, and any interference is pushed out 5 miles. Call in the presence of the Divine Mother Sophia and her blue flame. I call in the blue flame to purify my being, and I welcome the presence of Archangel Michael and the angels of the white light to run a mesh of pure white light through my being, through this entire house, through this field, gathering up all energies, entities, psychic attacks, alarms, and otherwise. Gather them up, remove them, completely heal them in the light, and return them to their appropriate place in the light now. I welcome the presence of Rumara to come and check my field as well. And am I sovereign? Yes, thank you so much. Oh, yes, and the headache is lifting. Oh, thank you. I can literally feel it just going, poof. Yes. So now let's include everyone. I wanted to clear myself first. So Archangel Michael, angels of the white light, run a mesh of pure white light through all who are present now and in the replay. Gather up any energies or entities, any misalignments. Gather them up, remove them completely, heal them in the light, and return them to their appropriate place in the light now. Archangel Michael, angels of the white light, please sever and seal all cords, ties, tethers, and binds. Remove them and the energies associated with them. Heal them in the light and return them to their sources now. Go to those sources and gather up all of our energies. Remove them completely, heal them in the light, and return them to each of us respectively now. Archangel Michael, angels of the white light, run another mesh of pure white light through our fields, gathering up all artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and astral parasites. Any psychic attacks, any interference or otherwise, gather it up, remove it completely, heal it in the light, and return it to source now. Please search throughout all of creation for all pieces, parts, or fragments of our beings that may have been lost, scattered, or stolen. Gather them up through all realities, dimensions, lifetimes, and timelines. Heal them in the light and return them to us, fully integrating now. I welcome the presence of the Holy Grail. Thank you. I ask that the Archangel Michael seal our fields with the divine presence of the Holy Grail and with the white diamond light, the rainbow ray, the healing golden ray, and the iridium elemental ray, protecting us from all that is not love. Outside of this, I ask that the amethyst grail king and queen encase us, envelop us, hold us in an amethyst geode, a sphere of healing presence and protection. Thank you so much. And so it is. Yeah. So I had an experience yesterday. Feel called to share this part. I alluded to it a little bit. Pretty sure everybody here knows what's been going on this last 48, 72 hours. And with me and others, you're very welcome, Maria. And Marcy, Tracy, you're so welcome. Chantal, I love you all so much. So I had a project to put up a like a quilt to put kind of like a heat shield at our back door, because the doggy door is in the screen door instead of the main door. And so in the winter, in order to just let the dog go outside whenever she needs to, we have to let the main door stay open. And so then the cold air comes in. So I'm like, I'm going to block that. And I'm going to, create this whole thing. And so I got this fabric, quilted fabric, and put Velcro on it and then magnets on it. So it was, split in the middle and we can go through and the dog can go through the doggy door, no problem. So it was like pulling teeth to get my husband to like help me do this. I'm like, I prepared the fabric. It was ready. The Velcro, everything was on it. We just needed to, nail it to the door frame. And, and so here's my husband like, oh, and then we're like standing there in the doorway. And he turns, my husband is a very jovial man, right? He turns very serious. And he goes, oh, I realize what we're doing right now. And I said, yeah. He's like, I can feel, just after like nailing up the top part, and we had to adhere the sides as well to secure it. But once we had nailed up the top, he walks into the room and he's like, oh my gosh, that changes everything. I said, yeah. Now the house is held. And it's just energetic, right? The door frame. This blue quilt over the back door. But this back door also leads to our large living room, playroom, and TV room. And all of a sudden, so I'm nailing in the side now. I don't need my husband anymore. I don't need his height to help me. I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, I hear in the back of my head, all hands on deck, alert, alert, alert. And I start hearing the names of my guides. Rumara, Rumara, come forward. Felicia, David, all my guides. And I'm like, standing there like, what? And I'm like, what? So what's happening right now? And my higher self is calling in my guide. It's almost like, you hear over the loudspeaker, military instructions, incoming, all hands on deck. And so then I, of course, have this, my spiritual authority arrives immediately, because I'm like, what's happening? And I begin to see, it almost looks like, arrows, but it could also be bombs and beings. And so, Amethyst Grail King shields up, amethyst shield over the house. And I just, kind of energetically braced and saw my house being bombarded by negative attacks, psychic attacks, entities. And so in that moment, I felt so incredibly protected, first of all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And, and just so watched over, knowing that my sovereignty matters to others, and my protection matters to others. And I don't know if it was my higher self that I was hearing. I feel like it was, or I don't know who it was, but I was like, wow. So have I entered a new level of the spiritual battle because of how I'm standing up for the true light? And there's just this last piece that I want to say in regards to the situation and the energies that I'm facing, working with, and working through. Anytime Metatron shows up, you are witnessing the presence of false light. And false light is very seductive. It feels really good. It's very corrupting. And it's very misleading. And it can feel like it's taking you somewhere good, and it's lifting you up, and it's healing you. And Metatron and the Metatron collective, because Metatron is not one being. Metatron is a collective of energies that created one field of energy that we consider to be a fallen angel. And there are people who are not educating themselves on the realms of heaven. They are staying in one field of information and not looking beyond that realm and not questioning what is coming in. Metatron is a fallen angel that was placed into the Jehovian matrix. He's part of Yahweh. He's part of the confusion. He's part of the trickery of trying to pull light workers and new age know-it-alls into a trap, back into the matrix. Metatron shows up when you begin to achieve too much. Metatron shows up to break you down and to keep you from actually bringing true light into the planet. I will place a website here that I have told you all to go to again and again to learn for yourself, okay? Of course, take everything with a grain of salt. Use your discernment. Your discernment is key. Go to this website and you can search any spiritual concept, any name, right? The information here is incredibly dense, so take your time with it. But I encourage you to put in the search bar Metatron and read. Read the truth. Metatron is not to be trusted. And we all have to be coming back to our hearts and listening within to what really feels good and what doesn't. What, even if you have the smallest, slightest inkling that I'm not sure, that is your key. That is your intuition. That is your subconscious saying, hello, 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 please pay attention to the I'm not sure. Pay attention to the I'm not sure. Because it's the I'm not sure that is the truth breaking through that part of you that wants to follow the what's happening now. What's happening now with this person? What's happening now with this, with this creator or this influencer or whatever, or this light worker, and where they're going. Oh, now they've connected to Metatron. just consider this, okay? So circling around this whole conversation, those of you that know what I'm talking about, consider the source. Well, yes, Donna, that I'll tell you why. That is the story that you have been told. That is the story of manipulation from the Bible and the books that just want to tell you where to look instead of looking beyond that information. Sophia and the true light is beyond all of that. So any information that comes through that is written within this last 6,000 years, throw it the fuck out and return to your inner voice. Just do it. Return to your inner voice and pay attention. So I just want to say this one piece, just place this little thread to all of you who are listening with ears to hear. In this particular drama and situation of the past 72 hours, I want those of you who follow that group to pay attention who the original medium that Metatron came through. That is the handler. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. I've said my piece. I have wanted to say that out loud for so long. If only it could be seen and understood by others that this person that we care about has a handler. And they're a part of her team. Take it or leave it. I love you all so much. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you for receiving this. Take it all with a grain of salt. It is what it is. It is what it isn't. Isis, it is what it is. So, thank you for the truth returning. Thank you for the breaking through and the breaking out of controlling mechanisms and structures that are here to keep us from our greatness. The divine feminine is here to achieve balance with the true masculine, the divine masculine. Masculinity is not toxic. It is truth, honor, protection, and love. We are here to rise in balance with the Divine Mother in her place. Thank you. Thank you to all of the divine beings who love us so much, who watch over us and protect us and guide us on our way. Thank you to leading us to our healing and to our own personal evolution. In the name of love. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I honor you all, your individual paths, your journeys, and your evolution. Remember that I still have discount until the end of the year. You can schedule within the next year, so half price sessions with me until the end of the year. And like I said, it's just scheduled within the year. Magdalene Mentorship is coming up at the beginning of February, so ladies are jumping on and even starting payment plans as necessary for that. I'm going to be announcing a retreat at the end of April here in the Boulder Valley, Colorado, Rocky Mountains. Very excited about that. At pretty much my closest friend in the whole world, Alyssa Mahina, who's an amazing priestess sister. Magdalene, we did our trainings together. We trust each other implicitly. Oh my God. You've seen her in some of my promotional pictures, my girlfriend Alyssa. And then, of course, France in the beginning of September. So so much to look forward to, my friends, and I will have workshops throughout the year as well. So thank you for being here. If you're not on my mailing list, please do visit divinesinging.com and make sure that you enter onto my mailing list so that you can keep up with everything and not miss a beat. Am I doing this right? Yeah. Don't miss a beat. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you, love you, love you. Stay in the light, and happy holidays, happy solstice, happy new moon in Sagittarius. Whoosh. So much is happening. Blessed be the light returning, and to you. I love you.